you know what? People don't like to be told to eat their vegetables.
No, it's always
lots of voters are maybe not in the best physical shape. That's no knock on anybody, and I think they might identify with somebody who kind of looks a little more like them.
Welcome to the Debrief, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering this week and where the story's going next. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by magazine managing editor David Mark. Dave, the primaries aren't quite over yet, but we're getting there. We're nearing the finish line. What do you think some of the big takeaways we've seen so far?
We've seen a real resurgence among House Democrats. It was basically a foregone conclusion throughout 2022 that House Republicans were going to pick up the majority, which they lost back in 2018. But Democrats have had a real turnaround. They won a special election in upstate New York on August 23rd. Also, it looks like they're going to win, at least for the short term, a House seat in Alaska against Sarah Palin, the former Republican governor and vice presidential nominee. So there's no sure thing in politics, more than 2 months to go, but Democrats are somebody you probably want to bet on right now.
So you've said that Pennsylvania may be the key to House control. Talk about some of those races. Why do you see that as being so pivotal? Yeah,
Pennsylvania is kind of a microcosm of the country as a whole. It's down to 17 House seats. It's losing one starting in January due to population loss. But the way they've been redistributed and the way the districts are drawn, it's made for a whole bunch of competitive races. There could be 7 or 8, depending how you count them. But there's a couple up in the Lehigh Valley north of Philadelphia where a couple of Democrats who we thought might be in trouble now look on sure footing. There's also one out in the Pittsburgh area, Connor Lamb, who ran unsuccessfully for Senate. He's a Democrat. It's a really evenly split district in which you got a lot of high-end professional class workers there, about evenly split between Democrats and Republicans, and whoever wins that one, I think, will be indicative of how the House goes.
How do you think some of the statewide races in Pennsylvania will play into those House contests? Because obviously, for both governor and senator, Republicans nationally have some misgivings about those candidates, a little worried about who made it out of the primaries onto the November ballot.
Yeah, a lot of people couldn't even name their local House member, certainly not who the candidate is. So I think that will have a lot to do with it. In the Senate race, you have 2 kind of unconventional candidates. Dr. Oz, the Republican nominee, who's a former television personality. With the Democrats, you have Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, who really doesn't look like a conventional politician. He's 6'8", got a lot of tattoos, wears a hoodie and cargo shorts around. The governor's race, you do have some more conventional politicians, but that is a tough one. That is a barn burner. Attorney General Josh Shapiro is the Democratic nominee against State Senator Doug Mastriano on the Republican side. He is an ardent Trump MAGA supporter. He was actually on the Capitol grounds on January 6th. So whatever your ideology or proclivity, you have a choice in this election.
That's definitely true. It's been interesting that one of the reasons that former President Trump endorsed Dr. Oz was precisely because he was a television personality and thought that that would be a real asset in the Pennsylvania Senate race. But it doesn't seem that he's been able to make very good use of those skills so far in the campaign. I mean, one of his most viral moments, in the grocery store with all the vegetables, seemed to actually cut against him.
I'm at Wegner's, and my wife wants some vegetables for crudité, right? So here's a broccoli. That's $2, not a ton of broccoli there. There's some asparagus. That's $4. Yep. And carrots. That's $4 more. That's $10 of vegetables there. And then we need some guacamole. That's $4 more. And she loves salsa. Yeah, there's salsa there. $6. Must be a shortage of salsa. Guys, that's $20 for crudité, and this doesn't include the tequila. I mean, that's outrageous. And we got Joe Biden to thank for this.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's a real natural at this. I think part of the problem is, like a lot of wealthy candidates, people have had a lot of success in business, as a lawyer, on television, whatever it might be. They kind of try to downplay their wealth and make it seem like they're an everyday person. Think about what Trump did. He owned it. That was the entire definition of his public persona. Yeah, I'm rich, and there's always an undercurrent to it. You could be too if you vote for me. I think when candidates trying to go against that, it doesn't really work. And John Fetterman is just much better at it. But you might agree or disagree with his policies, But when it comes to social media and just his kind of persona, he just knows how to own his opponents much better.
Although they're trying very hard to brand Fetterman with his own wealthy background from his parents, and also raise the health question, obviously, which is a sensitive subject and a difficult one because clearly it's an issue, it's a legitimate issue, but it's also an issue that's very easy to be perceived as insensitive or to go too far.
That's a really tricky one. I think Oz kind of lost an opportunity there. Rather than just saying eat your vegetables, I think he could have said something along the lines of eat your vegetables like I want to do with the federal budget. I just want to go cut back and go to the main thing. There was a way of being a little more suave and savvy about it and getting in his own public policy ideas. Instead, he just kind of looked silly and mean. And you know what? People don't like to be told to eat their vegetables.
No, it's always
lots of voters are maybe not in the best physical shape. That's no knock on anybody, and I think they might identify with somebody who kind of looks a little more like them.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
You can read David and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.